Your latest news update from Western Mass News.
I'm Chris Pisano with a look at your headlines. Chicopee police over the weekend arrested a man who was in possession of a gun, cocaine, and marijuana. Police initially responded to the area of St. James Avenue and Cortlandt Street for reports of a broken down car. Upon arrival, 25-year-old Michael Bedford told police that gunfire caused a flat tire. Upon further investigation, police realized Bedford had several outstanding warrants for his arrest. When his car was towed, police found cocaine, marijuana, a loaded gun, and a box of ammo. Bedford now faces charges including possession of a firearm with an FID card and possession of a Class B drug. Class was back in session today for students in Woburn after a teacher strike last week closed the public schools. That strike lasted a total of 7 days a week. A tentative deal between the school committee and the teachers union was reached after long negotiation sessions lasting from 10 a.m. Friday until 1 a.m. Saturday. Then after a 5-hour meeting Sunday, the city reached a return to work agreement with the teachers. According to the president of the union, their new contract increases pay for support professionals and creates more competitive wages for teachers and lowers class sizes. 2 finalists have been chosen to replace University of Massachusetts Chancellor Kumble Subbaswamy. The Board of Trustees announcing the finalists in an email to the UMass community. Javier Reyes, the interim chancellor at the University of Illinois Chicago, and Paul Tucholsky, Dean of the College of Engineering, Architecture, and Technology at Oklahoma State University. The 2 finalists were chosen from a field of 108 potential candidates.
I'm meteorologist Jana Brown with a check of your forecast. As we head into Tuesday, a slightly cooler day. We'll have a breeze coming in out of the northeast, and then wind will shift to the south as high pressure moves off the coast. We'll be tracking a cold front coming in Tuesday evening with some scattered light precipitation. It looks like more of a wintry mix of some rain and snow, potentially a little sleet, but little to no impact to your travel. Then we go into Wednesday, dry, breezy, and Thursday is our next round of wet weather, arriving in the afternoon and staying mainly rain. Temperatures look to hang in the 40s through the rest of the week, the cooler day being Tuesday with a high of 40. We're back to the mid-40s and breezy Wednesday, low 40s with afternoon showers Thursday. Thursday night, showers come to an end. Friday, warmest day of the week. Highs look to hit mid-50s, possibly breaking some records. Then a third storm system will bring another round of wet weather Friday night throughout Saturday, possibly ending as a little snow Saturday night. We're dry and chilly for Sunday, and then mild temperatures are back for next week.
Stay with Western Mass News on air, online, and on our app throughout the day for breaking news, weather, and exclusive content.